question and a couple Russian questions. Has anybody who attended the White House Correspondents' Dinner from the Pentagon tested positive?
Not to my knowledge.
Good. Okay. Russia, the May Day victory parade that Putin wants to put on, what signs is the Pentagon watching for in terms of any mega assaults between now and May 9th to solidify a victory parade? I mean, massed armor formations, more massed aircraft, artillery bombardments, anything that would portend?
Yeah, Tony, we're not watching what's going on in Ukraine, nor are we talking to the Ukrainians and trying to help them with an eye towards what May 9th is going to look like. Look, I don't know. We don't know if he's going to throw a parade or a party. We don't know. You know, we've heard rumors of him. You know, he's going to declare war. Now they're denying that. And we are not focused on what Russia is going to do on May 9th or what they're going to say or proclaim or celebrate. What we are focused on every day, including this day, is to make sure that we are helping Ukraine defend itself by getting them the weapons and the material they need as quickly as possible. And it's in lockstep with what they tell us they need. And if we don't have it, we're working with other countries that do have it that can help get it there. And in some cases, we're actually helping with that transport. So that's what the focus is on. I can't and won't speak to potential future operations in Ukraine. I wouldn't do that even if, you know, we were talking about U.S. operations, and we're not. We're talking about a war in which we are not fighting. All I can tell you is that the Russians have not made the kind of progress in the Donbass and in the south that we believe they wanted to make. We do believe they're behind schedule. We do believe it's been slow. And at every turn, they have met a stiff Ukrainian resistance. What we're focused on is making sure that that resistance remains as stiff as possible.
So it remains in their parade, huh?
We're not focused on his parade plans.
You said also that their precision is less than advertised. Fairly surprising given the amounts of money they spend on precision-guided weaponry. What do you attribute that to? Is it Ukraine's air defenses that keep their ISR capability down, or what?
I mean, it's hard to know specifically. Again, when it's not a missile that you're launching, it's hard to know what was the actual intended target, and how, and therefore, if you don't know the actual intended target, it's hard to know by how much they missed. But we have indications that they have not been precise. I mean, actually, it's more than indications. You can see it for yourself in the imagery. I mean, they have not been precise. They have not been discriminate, and there's probably any number of reasons for that. It could be technical issues. It certainly could be Ukrainian defenses, or it could just be incompetence on the part of operators. I mean, there's likely for any miss. There's likely a lot of reasons for that.
So these are precision-guided. These are weapons that are designed to be precision-guided that aren't working as intended versus dumb bombs.
That is correct.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, Abraham, I already got you. Let me get somebody on the phone. Paul Shinkman, U.S. News.
Hi, John. Staying on Russia for a minute, what do you assess would happen if Putin were to be incapacitated for any reason, particularly amid these reports that now he's giving direct orders for the military operation in Ukraine? Does Russia appear to have a clear chain of command to succeed him or at least maintain operations in Ukraine?
I don't want to speculate about their chain of command and how that would work. If for some, I mean, I just don't think that's a healthy speculation for us to get into. Mr. Putin is the leader of his country. He's certainly the leader of his armed forces, and how they execute orders down that chain of command is not perfectly visible to us in every way. Nor is it perfectly visible to us how information bubbles up from below the ranks up to him. So I think I just am going to not speculate on that. Jeff Shogel.
Thank you. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court has confirmed that the draft opinion on Roe is accurate, is authentic. So it's not a question of if, but when Roe is overturned. When that happens, will the Defense Department make sure that female service members and military dependents can still have surgeries for ectopic pregnancies, and they will not be prosecuted by state authorities if they have miscarriages?
Jeff, I beg to differ. I think it's been stated that a draft opinion is just that, draft. And it's not our place here at the Department of Defense to speak to opinions by the Supreme Court that have not been rendered. So I'm just not going to entertain that. Karun DeMargin.
Hi, John. So I have a question that is about Ukraine. Earlier today, a senior defense official was kind of talking about the advances that Russia is making and how they've been stymied and not gotten much progress outside of Mariupol, getting to Velika Novosylka, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and from Izium to Lyman. I was wondering, though, if you could kind of, from your take, explain, are these advances something that aren't considered to be, terribly significant by the Pentagon because there's some form of like deceleration? Because if you look at them on the map, it seems like the distance that's been covered by the Russian forces moving is like more than half of the way to Sloviansk or more than half of the way to Kramatorsk, for these cities that the Pentagon has defined as potential targets of the Russian advance. So is there something else going on there that makes these not, particularly, not alarming advances, I suppose, as it seemed like the defense official was saying? Or is that something that actually is putting Russians like in closer striking distance than maybe before? Is there a pacing thing or something going on that's qualifying kind of the inches on the map that seem to put that fairly, seem to make it seem like they're more significant advances?
Yeah. Let me try it this way. Again, we believe their progress in the Donbass and even in the South has been uneven, and it has been slower than we believe they anticipated being. We think, in general, and I'd rather not get into specific lines of advance or towns and cities here from the podium, but we think in general there's several reasons for this, and it varies from place to place. But in general, they still have, we don't believe they have solved their logistics and sustainment issues. And that because they haven't solved them, they are more wary about getting too far out ahead of their supply lines. And so that has kept them at a fairly slow pace in terms of movement. Number two, and actually, this is not insignificant at all, is the Ukrainian resistance. This is an area that they have been fighting now over for 8 years, and the Ukrainians, it's their home. They know it, and they know where to be, and they know what to show up with, and they have absolutely impeded Russian progress in terms of their ability to take certain towns and villages, or even in the case when they have, they pull back and the Ukrainians retake it. So the Ukrainians are very much a part of the reason why they haven't progressed in a very even or even at pace manner. The weather is also having an effect. This is the muddy season in Ukraine. This is a part of Ukraine that is flat, a lot of farmland. It's been described to me a little bit like Kansas, and so if you think about that, and this time of year in the spring, there's just a lot of rain and mud, and that also has served to slow the Russians down a little bit. And then lastly, they still haven't overcome the leadership and unit cohesion challenges that they had early on. I mean, we still have anecdotal evidence. It's anecdotal. I understand that. It's not uniform, but anecdotal evidence of morale and cohesion problems inside many units, and leadership challenges, poor command and control that they haven't solved. So we do see that they are trying and have tried to overcome some of those challenges, but it is not at all clear that they have. And so there's a whole wealth of reasons why the progress is as it is right now. They have a lot of force power left, a lot of firepower left to them, a lot of forces left to continue this fight, and that is why, and we've said all along that this could end up being a prolonged battle in the Donbass, and that's why we're focused. My answer to Tony, we're focused right now, every day, including this day, on making sure that we can give the Ukrainians the tools and the weapons that they need, as well as the training that may be required with some of those tools to succeed. Okay, Laura Seligman.
Hey, John, thanks for doing this. I just wanted to take one more stab at the abortion question. Is if this ultimately is the decision of the court, I know DOD is a planning organization, is DOD making plans to offer some kind of workaround for service members that might make it easier? Since, as you know, the service women have even more obstacles to getting the medical care that they need than civilian women do.
Laura, I look, this draft opinion just broke in the media, 24, 36 hours ago, and I think the relevant authorities have spoken to it, and it is a draft opinion. It is we're focused on our requirements for the health and well-being of our people, all of our people right now, and we're just not going to get ahead of where this goes. With the Supreme Court, I just don't think that would be prudent for us to do. Yes, ma'am.
Has there been any weakening of the Russian blockade around the ports, Mariupol and Odessa?
We still assess that in the maritime domain, there are still blockades. They are still restricting the ability of Ukraine to trade economically. That they are still able to do that. Yeah.
John spoke a bit about how there's a continued flow of defense assistance to Ukraine. It has not been lessened or inhibited. In fact, it's very strong, some of the terms that you said earlier. Can you give us a little bit, without revealing any operational security, can you give us some context as to how Russia could be striking last week 5 railroad stations, and now hitting infrastructure, critical infrastructure that provides the electricity for that? And yet there's no disruption. Can you give us some? Are they not hitting roads either?
I would just, again, Abraham, what we said from the very beginning is we're not going to talk about the ways in which material is getting inside Ukraine, and that there are lots of ways to do that, and that that those ways change over time as they must. There's redundancy built into the process, and we're mindful of the potential threat that could exist in terms of getting stuff in. So we're also mindful of changing how we're doing that so that it can continue to flow, and it continues to flow.
Is it constantly changing, or are you mindful?
It's constantly changing. It's constantly changing. Okay. Thanks, everybody.